Hello, everyone. This is Jeremiah Henry from the Department of English at CSU Fresno. In this brief video, I'd like to share with you a strategy I use in my teaching and with the Canvas learning management system that I believe has contributed to low drop, failure, withdrawal rates in my courses. The foundation of this strategy is not only in having learning outcomes that adhere to best practices, such as being equitable, measurable, and actionable, but just as importantly, my strategy is to keep the learning outcomes in view throughout the entire course. I do this by always using some combination of learning outcomes for rubrics, assessments, and frameworks for feedback. But taken a step further, we can use Canvas to track and respond to student performance on learning outcomes throughout an entire course. In a few minutes, I'm going to show you how to set this up. But first, in practice, I want to share with you what I believe this enables us to do. Because we can analyze and interpret, aggregate, and individualize the data on learning outcome performance, this strategy enables us to give targeted and timely class preparation. That is to say, we can craft class content in response to how students are performing on learning outcomes. Likewise, on a more granular level, we can personalize feedback when students are struggling on specific outcomes. Ultimately, these practices have a high chance of lowering DFW rates across the student population. For example, once you have this set up and running, you can simply open your gradebook on Canvas, switch to the Learning Mastery gradebook, which is disabled by default, by the way, so I'm going to show you how to enable it momentarily. And then voila! For every outcome that I have keyed into Canvas, I can see how my students are performing on those outcomes. In this example, I rate every outcome on a 6-point scale, where 1 to 2 represents not meeting expectations, 3 to 4 represents meeting expectations, and 5 to 6 represents exceeding expectations. In this course, I've considered a rating of 5 as the mastery level. So, at a glance, I can tell my students are performing well in the labor, mindfulness, and integrating research outcomes. I might use this as an opportunity to praise them for work well done. On the other hand, I can also tell that quite a few students seem to be struggling, particularly on the reflection and the community participation outcomes. This, to me, is actionable data. This tells me that I need to reiterate how important reflection is in helping us learn. And I should probably share some examples of what effective reflective writing looks like. Likewise, with community participation, my students probably need some examples to reinforce what the expectations are in terms of giving peer feedback, responding on Canvas discussions, and so on. Now, before I show you how to set this up, I do want to invite you to pause this video for a few minutes and maybe jot down some ideas as to how you think this strategy might apply to your teaching. Okay, so here are the steps that I'll go over with you. First, we need to enable the Learning Mastery Gradebook on Canvas. Then, we'll create outcomes in Canvas through its outcomes system. Once we have the outcomes keyed in, we can then create rubrics for assignments that use outcomes as criteria. That's the key that ties all of this together. You need to use the outcomes you key in as criteria for your rubrics. Don't use ad hoc criteria that you key in manually on the rubric itself. I'll show you exactly what this looks like shortly. First, I'm going to switch over to Microsoft Word so that I can copy one of my outcomes for English 20, Introduction to Literature. And we'll start with close reading. And now I'll hop over to my Canvas course, which is pretty bare bones at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and key in this outcome. Okay, there's like a group and a folder system that you can work with if you want to, but these outcomes are already kind of grouped under the course, so I don't think that I'm going to use groups for this example. Instead, I'm just going to come up here and create my outcome. I give it a name, close reading, friendly name, close reading. I'll paste in the text for the description of the outcome. In this case, the outcome for close reading says that students can examine, describe, and discuss meticulous details of texts they read, such as language, structure, and literary devices. This skill enables a deeper understanding of the nuances of literary art. Yeah, I'll go ahead and put that description in the friendly description box as well. Right? And then here is where you can kind of configure how you want the outcome to behave. Like in my previous example, use a 6-point scale to do all of this. Okay, and those numbers go on to represent a concept. Okay, something like that. We're going to say the mastery happens at 5 points, right when they're starting to get into the area of exceeding expectations. We'll consider that as achieving the mastery level. Okay, and we can also tell Canvas how we want it to consider or calculate that learning mastery gradebook view through a weighted average, a decaying average, and you can go through and click on each of these and read the description, and you can find the one that you think you want to try working with. I believe the decaying average is the one that I've gone with the most, and it works the best for the way that I grade and for my courses. All right, so now I have close reading as an outcome. I'm going to pause my recording real quick, and I'm going to key in the rest of my outcomes, and I'll get back to you, and we'll configure an assignment and set up a rubric for the assignment that uses these outcomes. All right, now I have all of my outcomes for my Introduction to Literature course keyed in. What's really nice about this too is you only have to key these in once. And so now I can build any number of rubrics that use any combination of these outcomes for any of my assignments. Okay, let's take a look then at the one assignment that I have keyed into my course so far. Let me go over to modules. I have this discussion activity just to help my students get to know each other. I can get to know them a little bit. Okay, it's pretty simple and straightforward prompt, a what, a why, and a how. Basically, I'm asking them to introduce themselves and to talk a little bit about what interests them about literature and the study of literature. Okay, here under the settings for the discussion, I'm going to add a rubric. And one more time, add rubric. Okay, now here is the spot where you might be tempted to just like create your rubric, and then you're gonna, kind of ad hoc add your criteria and your ratings. Okay, don't do that. Instead, we're gonna use this find outcome system. And first, I'll give the rubric a name. Okay, I'll get rid of this first criteria. I don't need it. Instead, I'm going to find outcome. Okay, and then what outcome do I want to use for this activity? Well, I think I want to use reflection. So we'll import that outcome to the rubric. And then maybe critical conversation. Students will actively engage in dialogues with their classmates, their professor, and current scholarship that challenge and expand their perspectives on works of literature. Well, I mean, they're not going to be doing all of that, but just, for the sake of example, I'm going to go ahead and include the critical conversation criteria as well. And I'm not really using the rubric to assign point values to their work. Really, I want to communicate with them whether or not they're meeting or exceeding expectations. Okay, so I'm just going to hide the score total because the total is irrelevant. I want them to see, how they rate on each of the criteria. So we'll go ahead and create the rubric then. And I'm still learning the new Canvas discussion format a little bit, honestly. I'm surprised that the discussion doesn't show us the rubric. Like a normal assignment, it would show us the rubric at the bottom of the discussion, right? Anyway, here it is. The view isn't the prettiest on the screen, but it looks and behaves just like any other rubric would on Canvas, except now our criteria, you see this little target icon next to the criteria name? That means that it's pointing to an outcome. Okay, it's not an ad hoc criteria that you keyed into the rubric manually. So now as I would go through and I would assess my students' work on this assignment, I can key in, what I think their rating is on the work, and then that's going to be reflected in the Canvas Learning Mastery Gradebook. Okay, speaking of which, as I mentioned previously, by default, the Learning Mastery Gradebook is not enabled in Canvas courses. So to turn it on, all you need to do is go down to Settings for your course. Then we're going to say Feature Options. Right here, Learning Mastery Gradebook, enable it. And I want my students to see their data too, so I'm going to enable the Student Learning Mastery Gradebook. Okay, and then that's it. You're all set. So I hope that this idea of tracking students' progress and performance on learning outcomes throughout a course of study will be useful for you. I hope you consider it. I really do believe that it enables us meaningful ways and specific ways to have conversations with our students and to give them feedback on their work, and to engage in interventions if we need to, if it looks like that they're really struggling on certain outcomes, that I think again is actionable data. I hope you agree. I hope you try it out, and best wishes and good luck to you in doing so.